Hi, I'm Dan.
I'm Dave, and we do cardistry. Dan and I are considered the pioneers of cardistry. Since we started, it's grown to encompass a variety of styles and new innovations.
Today we've been challenged to show you guys 22 levels of cardistry in increasing complexity.
Cardistry is the art of manipulating playing cards.
It has roots in the sleight of hand card magic world, and it was a small flourish used to accentuate an effect. We've decided to define complexity based on number of packets, speed, and technical skill.
There are so many cardists who would have approached this differently, and this is just our interpretation of the challenge. It's important to exercise the fingers. We have this finger exercise we like to do. This is great to loosen up the joints and get right into it.
So before we get into the levels, we'd like to go over a few basic card handling moves. Dealer's grip, end grip, straddle grip, all around square up, reverse all around square up, swing cut, swivel cut, one hand fan. You got that? Let's begin. Level 1, Z grip. The Z grip is an extremely basic grip in cardistry used for many different flourishes. To execute the Z grip, hold the cards in dealer's grip in your left hand. Come over with your right hand and place your thumb at the back end of the deck. Place your middle finger at the top side of the deck. Lift up 1/3 of the cards with your middle finger, pivoting it off your thumb. Now lift up another third with your thumb, pivoting it off your index finger, and that's Z grip. So the most important thing to keep in mind is an even distribution of packets. If you don't peel off an even amount of cards and you get one card in the middle or a few cards in the middle, performing the cardistry trick might be a little more difficult. Variations of the Z grip are reverse Z grip and the alt Z grip. Going into the next level, we're going to try to increase the complexity by only using one hand.
Level 2, Charlier cut. The Charlier cut is a one-handed cut. To begin, you want to hold the cards in dealer's grip. You'll notice this becomes almost a straddle grip. From here, though, you want to curl your index finger underneath the deck, and you're going to use your thumb to lift up half the cards. As you lift up half the cards, your thumb slides down the top packet. Once it's around center, your index finger pushes up on the bottom packet until it clears the edge of the top packet, and everything comes back together again. The most important thing I would say is having that little finger at the back edge of the deck. You need that little finger support to keep the cards together. Going into the next level, we're going to be exploring aerials. This is where a card flies through the air from one hand to the other.
Level 3, card shot. A card shot is a mechanical way to shoot a playing card through the air. Unlike card throwing, which uses inertia, a card shot uses tension to cause the card to shoot from one hand to the other. To execute this card shot, hold a single playing card in your right hand between your thumb and your middle finger. Push down with your middle finger, causing the card to bow like a bowl. Now you're going to apply tension by pushing the thumb towards the palm of your hand. You're going to keep doing this until the card flicks off the thumb, and this is what causes the card to spin. It's actually pivoting off your middle finger. This is a knacky move. It's going to take trial and error.
I would say it's also important to take this slow. It's a gradual buildup of that pressure that causes that corner to flick off the thumb.
Next, we're going to get a little more complex by learning to control the entire deck of cards.
Level 4, thumb fan. A thumb fan is an introduction to card fans. This is a very basic fan. It's a foundational fan. It's also, I would say, one of the more beautiful fans, as you can actually display every single card in the deck with enough practice. For a thumb fan, begin with the cards in dealer's grip. You then want to come over with your right hand in end grip and reposition the cards in the left hand so that the fingers are all together, extended, and the thumb is resting on top of the cards, also extended. You now want to use your right thumb in one single continuous motion, a semicircular rotation of the card. And as you do this wiping action, you'll notice that the cards fan, and there you have the thumb fan. Going into the next level increases complexity by combining gravity, inertia, and the nuances of finer finger mechanics.
Level 5, Pirouette. This is a way to spin a single card on the tip of your finger, kind of like a basketball. To do this, take a single playing card and pinch it directly in the middle between your thumb and your middle finger. Extend your index finger horizontally across parallel to your middle finger. Apply a small amount of pressure to your index finger and bend in the knuckle. In that rocking inward action, you're gonna lift up the thumb. And if you do that fast enough, at the same time as lifting up the thumb, the card is gonna wanna spin. Continuing on, we're gonna move into a one-handed cut that applies a rotation of a single packet.
Level 6, Revolution Cut. The Revolution Cut is a one-handed 2-packet cut. It's very similar to the Charlier Cut, although it applies a 180-degree rotation to the top packet as it moves to the bottom. You want to start the same way as you did with the Charlier Cut. The only difference is before you use your index finger to push up that lower packet, you want to insert your ring finger underneath the top packet. You're going to want to use your thumb to push that top packet over a little more, rotating it counterclockwise just enough so that your ring finger can contact and grip that left edge of the top packet. And you'll notice by curling in the index finger, it almost rotates automatically. Once it's been rotated 180 degrees, it's just the Charlier Cut, bringing that lower packet up to the top and back down again, squaring the cards. The most important thing to remember is that grip between the index finger and ring finger. This is the most challenging aspect of this flourish. We're now going to increase complexity by exploring a two-handed multi-packet cut.
Level 7, Kalushs Cut. Kalushs Cut is a 3-packet cut where the cards literally turn themselves inside out. The top packet goes to the bottom, and the bottom packet goes to the top. The middle stays in the middle. To execute Kalushs Cut, hold the cards in dealer's grip and come over with your right hand and break into Z. Move your middle finger down and you're gonna clip that center packet between the thumb and that middle finger. Next, you're gonna rotate your right hand 360 degrees around the front side of the deck, using that left index finger as a pivot to help rotate that middle packet around to the bottom of the deck. And you're gonna go into an all-around square up and we're good to go. At this point, it's worth noting that we've learned a handful of moves and we can start combining them together. We've learned Z grip, we've learned Charlier, and we've learned Kalushs Cut. And if you combine all those three together, you get Sybil. Next, we're gonna demonstrate an incredibly old move. It's the ability to perfectly shuffle a deck of playing cards.
Level 8, Pharaoh. Pharaoh Shuffle is a perfect shuffle. You're actually weaving the cards one by one all the way through the deck. Begin with the cards in dealer's grip, come over with your right hand in end grip, and break off half the cards with your right thumb. As you come away with that half, the packets are going to come together end to end. You're now going to slide the bottom packet up and the top packet down. And as you do this, there's this weaving action. You'll notice that the cards begin to weave together. You're going to apply pressure down on the cards, bowing them like a bridge. And as you release the pressure, all the cards spring together into a nice square packet of cards, which you can hold in dealer's grip and give an all-around square up so that you can begin your next cardistry move. So now that you've quite literally learned to control every single card, we're going to increase complexity by controlling every single card again, but this time in midair.
Level 9, Card Spring. The card spring is one of the most classic moves in cardistry. It is the move that every layman recognizes, and it's featured in countless films and TV shows, and even cartoons such as The Simpsons. Come over with your right hand and pinch the packet of cards between your thumb at this inner left corner and your fingers kind of wrapped around the outer right corner. You're going to apply pressure with your thumb by squeezing the full deck inward, and the cards are going to begin to shoot off the thumb one at a time. And you can kind of hear it. At that point, your hands are going to want to come back together in this action. So they start together, they separate, and they end together. Another important thing to note is that when you spring the cards in this position, you're going to spring them into straddle grip. And that little pinky in the back is going to prevent the cards from falling to the floor.
Begin with a semi-broken in deck of cards. If you try this with a brand new deck of cards, they're going to be very slippery and they're just going to spray all over the floor.
There are two ways to execute the card spring, straight up and down or side to side. As we transition into the next level, we're combining rhythm with a choreographed movement of multiple packets between the hands.
Level 10, Genesis. Genesis is one of the very first cardistry tricks we ever created. Begin with Z grip. grip that center packet between the left thumb and fingers. You'll notice this is in a very similar position to the opening of the Charlier cut. You can now separate the two hands so that you can begin a swing cut with the right hand. So you're just lifting up half the cards with the index finger, holding the lower half with the middle finger of the right hand. From here, you're going to perform a Charlier cut with the left hand. However, before you close the Charlier cut, you're going to insert the lower packet of the right hand between the two packets coming together in the left hand. Lower the fingers of the left hand down, tilting the left edge out and away from the palm. This opens up the palm and allows the bottom packet of the right hand to be dropped or placed down into the left hand palm. Lift up the packet gripped between the base of the thumb and the right middle finger so that you've now squared the bottom two packets. From here, you're now going to pinch this center packet between the right middle finger and the right ring finger. Continue rotating this packet all the way over end for end until it's face down on top of the deck. As we move forward, we're now combining packet cuts with aerials and fans.
Level 11, Mary Jane. This is a multi-packet cut where a packet literally flips 360 degrees in the air. So let's break into Alt-Z grip. Rotate these top two packets to the right, grab that center packet between your thumb and middle finger. Once that packet is grabbed, you're gonna rotate the bottom and top packet forward around that center packet and back on top. Come over with your left index finger and perform a swivel cut with that top and bottom packet. Perform a Charlier cut, but don't square the cards. With this right packet, perform a one-handed fan. Stick the outer edge of that fan into those two packets in the left hand. Continue tilting the fan to the right. You don't want to flip it, just use gravity. So that packet falls, pivots off the thumb, rotates 360 degrees, and lands in the left hand. Square the fan on top of the deck, give the deck an all-around square, and you've just completed Mary Jane. So don't toss the packet, just let gravity do the work. If you toss the packet, cards are going to the floor. Going into the next level, we're getting into a new concept, running cuts, but with one hand.
Level 12, one hand running scissor cut. This is an introduction to scissor cuts. It's a two-packet cut where you're dropping one packet on top of the other consistently until you have no more cards. So you're gonna start in a modified straddle grip with the cards held in the left hand, and your thumb is gonna come over and pick up as many cards, I would say about 4/5 of the deck. You're now going to lever these cards all the way up until it clears the top packet of the deck. Once it clears, you're going to bring it back down the same way you lifted it up. You're going to use your thumb to drop a small packet off. And then you're going to repeat the actions again and again and again. I would say 4 or 5 times until you have no more cards, and then you complete the scissor cut. The most important thing to remember is keeping the packets consistent. So when you initially lift up that packet from the bottom of the deck, I would say around 4/5 of the deck. If not, the cards are gonna flex too easily. They'll start to bow one way or the other, and that's when you get into problems with cards flying out and falling onto the floor.
Level 13, Worm. The worm is a really unique trick in that it uses a kinetic type motion combined with a really cool 5-packet display. So let's start with Z grip. Rotate the packets in opposite directions as you tilt your hand into a perpendicular plane to the floor. Your index finger of the right hand is going to push the top card forward, and this is going to give you this beautiful square display. You can rock these cards back and forth by moving your hands in opposite directions. In this inward position, your left thumb is going to position itself on the back of this packet. Drag that single card up and clip it between those packets. Your left thumb can come over and clip this packet and extend everything in this beautiful 5-packet display. Believe it or not, pushing off that single card is pretty knacky. It's going to take some practice.
Level 14, Carnahan Fan. The Carnahan Fan is a one-handed fan where the cards begin face down and then magically open up into a face-up fan. Begin in dealer's grip and curl your index finger underneath the deck. And you want to curl it so far that the knuckle of the index finger is butted right up against the base of the thumb. Let's curl the index finger out and then immediately curl it back around the top of the thumb. And to close it, you can either reverse the actions for a one-handed close, or for a simpler method, just come over with the opposite hand, square all the cards together, and give it an all-around square up. For the next level, we're going to combine tricks we've already learned, as well as advanced mechanics and an aerial from one hand to the other.
Level 15, Molecule 2. Molecule 2 is the opening and closing of packets, revolving and spinning around each other with an aerial in between. Molecule 2 starts with a modified version of the Z grip with the finger on the corner instead of the front edge. From here, you're going to revolve that lower packet to the middle. At the same time, you turn the top packet face up, but flip it back face down on top. This leaves us with that center packet sticking out between the top and bottom packet. Revolve this packet 180 degrees around and then flip it end for end over so it's back on top in this sort of Charlier type position. From here, you're going to grip the top packet and revolve half of that packet 360 degrees over into your right hand end grip. Now you're going to execute a revolution cut with your left hand. At the same time, flip this right hand packet 360 degrees in the air from one hand to the other between those two packets, and everything gets closed.
Level 16, Kryptonite. Kryptonite is a one-handed multi-packet cut. It utilizes the Charlier and revolution cut, which we've already gone over. Begin as you would for a revolution cut. You're going to use your index finger instead to split the top packet in half. You're now going to extend the middle finger, ring finger, and little finger out, allowing that top packet to glide or slide down until it falls into the base of the finger. Just ignore that you now have a packet clipped between the middle finger and ring finger and perform a revolution cut. As that packet revolves around, instead of landing on the bottom, it's going to land on top of that lower packet. You're going to push down on that lower packet with the fingers, the tips of the fingers, to lever that packet up and around the index finger, allowing it to fall on top flush with the deck. So as we move forward, we're advancing along into a more advanced multi-packet two-handed cut. This also ends in a very nice display, which is somewhat iconic amongst cardists.
Level 17, 5 Faces of Sybil. Things are getting a little complex. To do this, we're going to break into Z and then kick off that top packet to break into both Z and Alt Z at the same time. From here, we're going to rotate both hands in opposite directions, similar to Mary Jane. Also similar to Mary Jane, we're going to clip that center packet with our left thumb and index finger. We're going to extend our right hand forward, clearing that center packet, coming back around. We're going to straddle this packet, clip off half of it, and extend. And that's what's going to give us this beautiful 5-packet display. So you're going to want to try to get an even distribution of packets. So 1/5 of the deck in each grip, so to speak. For the next level, we're going to be combining 3 things we've already learned: the scissor cut, the Pharaoh, and the bridge. Level 18, one-hand shuffle.
To begin, you want to hold the cards in a raised straddle grip. You're going to break the cards with the index finger, inserting your index finger between the two halves of the deck. This is similar to Kryptonite. You're now going to slide that upper half of the deck along the index finger until your index finger reaches the left edge of that upper packet. At this point, you want to make sure the cards are as square as possible. So at that point, you apply a little bit of pressure with the thumb and fingers. You'll notice that the cards sort of want to flex upward, and as they flex upward, you'll notice that they're bowing against each other. Relax the grip and just sort of rock the tension back and forth until you feel the cards begin to weave together. Once the cards are weaved together, you're going to squeeze the 2 packets together so that they bow downward, creating a bowl. Relax the index finger, and the cards will sort of spring back into place, just like in a riffle shuffle with a bridge.
Level 19, Madonna II. Madonna II is a speed cut that uses simultaneous swivel cuts, swing cuts, and the revolution cut. This one starts with Alt Z. From here, you're basically going to perform a series of swivel cuts and swing cuts, moving packets on top of each other, below each other, and under packets. At this point, you perform a revolution cut, drop that packet on top, and you're left with a single packet held between your left thumb and your right thumb. You're going to sort of kick that packet so it spins 180 degrees and lands on top. For these types of speed cuts, it's important to get the mechanics down to perfection before going into speed. With that said, you do want to practice at a fast pace. It's going to be difficult, but that's ultimately what's going to make the flourish look really nice. Level 20, Leno.
The Leno cut is a complex 7-packet display cut where packets are spinning back and forth, one on top of the other and back again. It's this long, beautiful, magnificent display, and then it all comes back together again. Begin with Z grip. However, here, we're gonna do it backwards. Instead of pivoting that packet off the index finger, we're pivoting it off the little finger. You're then gonna lift up with the index finger of the right hand into like an Alt Z grip. Here, you're gonna pick up an additional packet from the bottom packet of the deck. So you're lifting up or breaking off half of that bottom packet with the little finger of the right hand. From here, you start to rotate and pivot packets one on top of the other. That bottom packet held between the index finger and little finger is swiveled around counterclockwise. You're gonna grip a packet between the left thumb and middle finger. What's unique about this, you're opening and closing packets, ultimately getting you to a much grander display. So there's this nice kinetic opening and closing of packets until you finally reach this grand display. And then I'm just closing everything almost in reverse action to opening it. And at the very end, I like to end with Genesis.
So we're at a very advanced place right now, and we're gonna get into combos.
Level 21, Pandora.
So this is the introduction of multiple packet display cuts using seamless transitions from multiple flourishes. This one's nuts. It starts with the opening of 4 packets simultaneously, which transitions into an old cut called Tornado. From here, we're spinning packets around in beautiful choreographed ways, which transitions into a cut we call Crab Shack, again with packets spinning around each other in a chaotic fashion, followed by Molecule 3 sequence to close it off. What makes Pandora so beautiful is that state of flow. You really want to dance with the cards and get that rhythm down.
Level 22, Improvisational Cardistry. So improvisational cardistry is the idea of exploring all of these techniques we've learned and coming up with new ways of executing them. It's basically combining everything into your personal expression.
Since we started, cardistry has grown into this international art form, and you have guys all over the world doing stuff that as kids we could not even dream of.
The fact is there's infinite possibilities with a deck of cards. It's really a personal artistic expression. It's an art form. And so with new people getting into it, there comes new ideas, new innovations, new styles.
Yeah, in terms of creativity, the sky is the limit. We'd love to see cardistry get to a point where cardists can make a living doing this. And we are seeing that happen today. It's still a somewhat new art form, but I think in the next 10 years it will get to that point.